Devyn Curley. I've been going to this church since I was 3 years old, 18 years ago. Truly blessed to come back here today. Grew up a lot in this church. A lot of fantastic mentors here. And just absolutely fantastic to come back and share with you all. So a little bit about myself. I'm a senior currently at Tufts University, just outside of Boston. Currently majoring in mechanical engineering. I'm going into my last year of that, and this past summer I had an incredible experience working for a fantastic drum cymbal manufacturer, Zildjian. For those who are familiar, you've probably seen Zildjian drum cymbals you didn't know, and it's the large cursive Z on the cymbal. Zildjian was founded in 1610, over 400 years ago, and have been a premier cymbal manufacturer ever since, and one of the greatest in the world. And so their process, they have their their formula for the cymbals. It goes through the whole manufacturing process, and at the end, it goes through all these processes, and it comes out at the end, and a gentleman hits it a couple times, listens to it, and says, "Yeah, that's good. I don't like that one. Yeah, that's good." The whole process comes down to one guy who's listening to cymbals and has a fantastic ear for it and a love for music and is able to determine the quality of the cymbals. That's amazing. Think of all the technology we have in the world today with computers, cars, we're going to space, and it comes down to one guy listening to a cymbal. And this works because music, it's not about numbers. You listen to a piece, you listen to these hymns, and when you listen, you say, "That sounds beautiful. That song is so sweet. It was warm, loud, or soft." You don't listen to something and say, "Oh, that tone was probably around 480 hertz at this number of decibels." It's not how we view music. So that is why this method has worked for 400 years. But unfortunately, one of their cymbal gurus is retiring. And unfortunately, you can't go into the yellow pages and put an ad in there for a cymbal guru help wanted. And so Zildjian wants to, they realize that it is the 21st century and quality assurance processes all across manufacturing are automated. They use robots, they use computers. And so they came to Tufts, a couple professors at Tufts University, and said, "Hey, what can you tell us about our cymbals? What can you learn about our cymbals? We can hear it and know what sounds good, but is there any way you can put numbers to that? Is there any way you can put science and engineering to that?" So I was blessed enough to be on this team with this great mission. So as a mechanical engineer, I developed and programmed the robot you see before you. Spent all summer on it, and the concept of it, if you look at it, it has two motors. Imagine like this is an arm. It kind of mimics as a human arm would move with an elbow and then a wrist at the end with a stick on it. And this was a very cool project to work on for me, and I really enjoyed it. I would love if you guys would get to demo it for you right now. If you give me 1 second, I don't trip over anything. So the purpose of this, we wanted the robot because it would be able to hit the cymbal accurately, consistently, and with power. So that we knew when we were collecting data, we knew where we were hitting it, exactly, and how hard we were hitting it, and it had to be the same every time. So this was the hit we used to take data with, actually. So now imagine that without the little clicking at the end, I didn't have enough time to test it beforehand. And is there? It is on. Try it out. Is this better? Okay. I'll try to project a little more. I apologize. So now think about the passage I just read. I can speak in the tongues, mortals and angels, but if I do so without love, I'm nothing but a noisy gong or clanging cymbal. Now I have another prop, actually. I'm like, what a clanging cymbal might sound like. So this here is just a pizza tin I got at the dollar store. But when you look at it, it is a metallic, round object you can hit, and it makes a sound. So on paper, one could argue that this is a cymbal, right? But there's no love to put into this. It was made up for a different purpose, not without love, not with music in mind. So when you hit it, it's not really music. So then you take a Zildjian cymbal, it resonates. It's a much more beautiful sound. And so to talk more about what Zildjian's process, So as I said, they go through a huge manufacturing process between smelting the metals and hammering them out. And at the end, they take one of these cymbals and put them up on a large spinning circle. And by hand, they have these artisans remove material by hand. And to be one of these and to get this job, you need 4 years of training. 4 years for this job. That is the same amount of time I need to get a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. That is a lot of time, a lot of skill that these guys have, but Zildjian will require nothing less. Because that's how much they love their product and they want to put care into their sound. They're not just taking things off the assembly line and just handing out to customers. They go to the assembly line and then they perfect it, making sure the mass distribution is just right, that the angle is just right, that the shine of it is perfect. And that's why they're so good at what they've done, and that's why they've been the most successful cymbal company for 400 years. It's because of the time and love that they put into their cymbals, because otherwise, without that love, you end up with a clangy cymbal. And so they want to go a step further, though. As I said, they came to Tufts and they invested time and resources into us to help improve their process, so that they can assure, because right now, with all of the processes they have to make the cymbal, it's disproportionately shorter the time they take to actually check its quality. This would be like you're making Thanksgiving dinner, and you don't taste anything before you dish it out. You're like, this turkey's probably cooked, I'm gonna hand it out. And so that analogy for me works, because yes, they have someone listening to it, and they're fantastic at what they do, but you can use robotics and use engineering to take the same amount of time and learn 10 times as much about a cymbal, and put numbers to that. And so my project, as I said, I spent a lot of time on this, and love it enough to bring it back to you guys. And so there are parts of this project that I did that went the extra mile that ended up helping tremendously. The first, as you can see, and as I almost tripped over everything, there were a lot of wires involved in this, a lot of hardware, motors, and everything. What I could have done, I could have let the wires hang out. I could have, had the motors and have the batteries hanging off, and it would have worked. It would have been able to take data. It would still work. We wouldn't be able to transport it. And so, because I put the extra time in to make this so solid and so neat, I was able to then take it and bring it to Zildjian's headquarters when we presented to them. And so, yes, we presented them all of this data on what we found. We were able to stand there and confidently tell them this because of the robot that we had. We said, we know exactly how we're hitting your cymbals. We know where we're hitting them. We know it's the same every time, to prove to them that our experiments were effective. And secondly, just like the physical aspects of the robot got pretty messy, the programming is incredibly messy. It's a very large code, but I tried to take the time to make it neat. Because as I said, it would still work. The functionality would still be there without making it neat. But having that neatness allowed for me, when I was having a problem, I could go to a buddy, I could go to a professor, and say, hey man, I'm really stuck on this, can you help me? And because it was neat, because he was able to read the code quickly, I would get so much more help. And I'm a person who loves working with people. I love bouncing ideas off each other, especially when you're stuck with a problem. And to be able to do that with others on this project was an absolute blessing. It really improved what we were able to do with it, what we were able to program, because I had the help of others with the effort I put in to make the robot more neat. And so finally, I talked about how the physical robot, kind of looks like a human arm. We wanted to go to extra length to actually have the motors mimic a cymbal strike. So this was so cool. I love this part of the project. So what made it so unique? Because you can have any robot, just go up, down, and hit a drum, hit a cymbal. But if you look at it, I'll show it for you guys again. I want you to watch the strike closely. Notice it has a nice little wind up, the elbow comes down, it snaps the wrist at the end, just like a human drummer would. We had one of the guys I was working with, an undergrad, he's in a band, and he's the drummer for that band. And we put him up against a big white wall and had him hit a cymbal. And we videotaped him doing that. And we took that data, we took the angle of his wrist, the angle of his elbow, and we were able to put that onto the robot. That's so cool! And so because we were able to do this, we were able to mimic a human sound as close as we could. Now I want you to all take a second and imagine an all-robot orchestra. On the strings, on the horns, on the drums, everything. Robots all around. I guarantee you they would hit every note exactly in time, exactly together. But who would want to listen to that? There's no, you imagine, and now I want you to take a second and contrast that with the image of a cellist. Playing the cello, eyes closed, moving with the cello, adding the vibrato with their hand, feeling the piece, feeling that love, and putting that love into their music. And that's why, so obviously, certainly our robot can't do that, and we understand that. But we wanted to get as close to the human strike as we could. So that's why we took the extra time to add that human element. So when we came to Zildjian, we can say, we mimicked the human strike as best as we could in this lab setting, and that's why we feel that. So we're analyzing a human sound. Zildjian doesn't care how their cymbals sound when a robot hits it. They want to hear it sound as close to a human sound as possible. And so that's why we spent so much time on that, to really go that extra mile for them. And so this project, I'm very easily excited about this project. And that was because it's the culmination of 3 years of education for me, and beyond into high school. But 3 years of college education came together in this project. And now if you ask my dad, ever since I'm a kid, I've asked why a lot. Why are we doing this? Why is this? But that's probably maybe an engineer. So I would say, well, why was this made this way? Why does this work? And so when I was taking these classes and doing the homeworks and going through lectures and going into labs, there's always that question back in my head, why? Why am I doing all of this? And of course you have the short term, like I do this to get a good grade, and that's fine, that's important. But there's that deeper why. And this project was so cool, because as I'm starting in my first weeks, I'm looking at the problem, I'm trying to tackle and doing equations, and I was like, oh wait, I think I did this sophomore year. Let me go check my notes. Or let me go see that homework I did. Or even let me go contact that old professor I had and see what he thinks about this problem. And that was amazing to bring that all together into this one project. And that was, for me, very symbolic of my path spiritually. As I said, being part of this church since I was 3 years old. So I've gone through all of Sunday school, confirmation, and then taught in Sunday school here. And been through sermons, and it's all been fantastic. And the sermons in Sunday school, they're like the classes in school. You have to learn, you have to have that base level, that base understanding of why this is all so important, why this is such a fantastic community, why we love God. But then it's that application that's meant so much to me. So first off, as I started singing in this church, when Mrs. Chandler had me in the 4th grade room upstairs, had me stay after every day singing Happy Birthday, because my voice didn't quite yet understand how notes went up and down yet. But I've grown so much from there. I'm still singing today. I'm a senior of my 4th year for the Tufts Chamber Singers. And singing has been such a blessing because, we learn about how great God is and how much we love and how important love is. But then when you get to sing about it, at least for me, that was the greatest thing. To be able to express your love in such a way was just the greatest thing. And it's that expression of love that was so important. And secondly, Sunday school. Right after I got done with confirmation, started teaching assistant teaching 3rd and 4th grade Sunday school. And that's such a great concept, take these big sermons that we talk about in here, but then to bring it down and condense it down to a smaller level and just dig deep into that with a class and do a craft and talk about it was just a great application, and to be able to put love into that is what made it all worthwhile. To do that without love, what's the point? You can't express yourself without that. And finally, one of the most important things has been for me has been community service. We have 10 commandments, but Jesus took them. We only said there's 2 that are the most important: love God and love your neighbor. And the loving the neighbor was resonated with me so much because there's so much application to that. Growing up with Beth in the PF and doing, going to Habitat, going to Columbus House, raking leaves for a neighbor in the church. That was where I thought, wow, this is why we do this. This is why we go to church every day. This is why we learn all of this and read the Bible, is to help others and to do it with love. Because what's the point? Going to Habitat and just going through the motions, you don't get anything out of that. When you put love and meet the people who you're helping and go through that and just connect with them and take that extra time to work with them and help them on a more personal level. Yes, you can donate money, that's obviously important. When you're out there giving time, that's been the most rewarding part to me of my spiritual experience, is going out and doing it with love and really the application of everything. So I'd like to thank you guys so much for your time. I'll be down in coffee hour afterwards if you'd like to talk. Open book, anything I'll talk about. Not too scary, I don't think. So I'd like to take just a moment of silence to reflect on things you do in your life, things you do with love, and things that you think you could add more love to make a more rewarding experience. Thank you so much.